Hello there, you beautiful people. My name is Willow, and welcome back to Supreme Commander Forged Alliance Forever for a 1v1 played at the top of the ladder on the map Badlands. Let's go ahead and get into introducing our blue and red players respectively, starting with the blue UEF up in the north, the Master of Bees, and he's here to sting. His name is Blast Chilled. And he is rocking the UEF up here as we move on down to the south with the Red Cybran. Very fitting, blue UEF versus Red Cybran. Going first land. He is the bane of all kitchens. His name, of course, is Rotten Banana. And then we can take a little bit of a look at the map. Yes, the map. We've casted it recently, but always good to get a bit of a refresher. Around 9,000 mass for these players to reclaim off this map. We have 3 distinct areas where these players can fight on the land, 2 plateaus on either side of the map, and then a bit of a disjointed, disconnected area in the back with 4, or I guess you could consider it 8 mexes total, where players generally try and get a few run-bys in and just kind of stifle the enemy's economy. And very early on, we have a very early mole coming out from Rotten Banana, and he's going to use that to make himself known on the map, get a little bit of intel. We also have a snoop out from Blast Chilled, and that will, of course, lead into the early game. See how these players decide to harass each other. The Snoop critically has a gun, whereas the Mole does not, so these two little units going to be fighting each other, and that Mole most likely going to be first blood here for Blast Chilled, coming out with a strong sense of aggression, taking out that Mole with that Snoop. And let's go ahead and get ourselves back into a normal camera position and just kind of talk about what we can expect in this match. With a Cybran versus UEF on the ladder, you're usually gonna see a very heavy T1 play coming out from the Cybran. They do have arguably the strongest T1 phase, but the UEF are no slouches there either, and we're probably gonna see a ton of T1 spam out of both players and a very quick teching up to Tech 2 and Tech 3, as this map affords these players massive economies to use to batter each other over the head and beat each other in the face with. It's going to be a grand time, so sit back, relax. This is going to be a longer game, and of course, make sure you hit that like and the subscribe button with all of the generosity that you have in your heart. And of course, you are so beautiful for doing so. As over here to the west, we have our first attacking unit out from Rotten Banana, starting to make its way over towards the northwestern side of the map, trying to get a little bit of harassment damage, maybe find a wayward engineer or two, and just get a little bit of value. Unfortunately, gonna run into a striker Snoop combo. Could go either way, but unfortunately the Snoop does give a little bit of DPS there, and the Mantis will have to do a little bit of good micro to make something happen here. And that is going to mean that it is going to get a decent bit of micro there. The turret on the Mantis very slow, but the Striker's not fast either. And the Striker gonna go down first, but will the Snoop be able to get the kill? No, he won't. Brought it down to 2 HP, and the reclaim comes out from the engineer of Blast Shield and gets the victory there. Those combat engineers always thirsty for blood. A T1 bomber now out for Rotten Banana, about to be shot down by an interceptor out from Blast Shield. Gonna be able to try and get a bomb off, but the bomb is dodged by Blast Shield. This engineer, he is not your average civilian. No, in fact, he is a man with a dog who got killed by the Russian mafia. And it is, of course, John Wick, the engineer. And of course, I don't know why that's what I went for there. But of course, we have a Rotten Banana still trying to get some aggression down, still has another T1 bomber in the airs trying to just make anything that he can manage happen. as far as early damage goes. We have the commander of Blast Shield moving out towards the east. The commander of Rotten Banana already well on his way to another 4-mex expansion point. And as we look at the economies, right now Rotten Banana just slightly ahead, but overall reclaim slightly ahead for Blast Shield. So they are neck and neck with each other as far as economy is concerned. And right now we have this bomber out from Rotten Banana going to be able to shut down an expanding engineer in the backline, slow down the expansion efforts of Blast Shield, and he'll be very happy with that result if he can manage it. He does see the engineer. Go ahead, turn it around and get your bomb off Mr. Zeus. Yep, that's a very dead engineer. And over here to the east, we have a few Mantis now out onto the field for Rotten Banana, going to be able to take down a Striker. Having a little bit better luck with the early engagements as far as the damage output goes from his Mantis. Over here to the east, though, Blast Shield going to show up with that UEF commander and going to be able to dispatch all of these Mantis with ease. Just 3 shots and they are dead. One Mantis may be able to walk away, but no. In fact, the sole survivor going to be the Mole up here to the northeast, as we have a scout flying over the middle of 4 more Mantis coming in. An engineer gonna go down, not John Wick of the engineers. Is he still alive? Is he still chilling somewhere over here? He is, there he is, John Wickulus, the engineer to rule all other engineers. Getting a kill and dodging bullets left and right. Hell, he may even be Neo instead of John Wick. As over here to the east, a bit of an attack coming out from Blast Shield. Going to be able to take down some of this expansion effort coming out from Rotten Banana. And in the middle, we have a few Mantis conglomerating, but more Strikers on the other side, and it just seems like Blast Shield has a better handle on unit production here in the early game. Let's go ahead and check on that factory count. We're up to 11 factories versus Rotten Banana sitting on 10, and 9 of them were idle there for a second, having to pause for something or other. He does have a little bit more air presence, I would say. Definitely has more interceptors, I'm pretty sure. And over here to the east, throwing up some PD. Those are very expensive, which means they're going to build very slowly, but they will give him a bit of a sense of security as he cliff builds another factory to try and grab one of these plateaus. And that might be very important for later on. 2 mass extractors, nothing to scoff at, and also gives you a nice little area for sieging. Can build T2 artillery or even mobile missile launchers or normal missile launchers to fire down pain and suffering upon the opposing players. A cliff build now coming out from Blast Shield. He's going to try and go for that plateau himself, but unfortunately his factory is just going to be slower. And with that, once some Medusa come out, that factory has no chance of going online. Over here to the southeast, a large push coming out from Blast Shield, but he's also pushing on the west. Unfortunately, the attack on the west is just going to end up in sadness and failure, as Rotten Banana's comm does manage to kill off a couple of Strikers. Over here in the east, he can't really go too far thanks to the T1 PD. So overall, he's got a lot on the field, but not much to do with it. And we settle in for what would seem to be a pretty solid mid-game coming out of these players. Nobody has a distinct advantage over the other at the moment. Economies are neck and neck. Rotten Banana coming ahead with about 10 more mass a second, or I guess 8 or so more mass a second than his opposition. And that is not significant now, but if he can manage to channel that into a couple more T2 mexes faster than his opponent can get them, that will be very good. He has a T2 land HQ now already done, and he's starting to build up some T2 land engineers. I guess there are only really land engineers, unless you're UEF, in which case you have 2 different air engineers. And over here to the east, there are Medusa killing off that cliff-built factory. As I said, there is no chance for you to win here if you do get the factory second. Doesn't matter if you built it with a commander or an engineer. As over to the west, seems as though maybe there was a cliff build opportunity that John Wick was unable to really achieve. Is John Wick still alive? Oh, yep, there he is. He's just chilling. It's going to be very sad whenever I look over there and he's just dead, but you know, it's the life of an engineer. They just tend to die. As over here to the east, there is a bit of fighting going on between the units of Blast Shield and Rotten Banana. Not going to result in too much. Some walls now going up for Rotten Banana. Rotten Banana also managed to get a decent little wall segment here. It's not really going to stop any movement, like permanently, but it can definitely slow down the efforts of Blast Shield to just throw an army down this flank. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Blast Shield currently doing a very good job of reclaiming this middle area. Speaking of reclaim, he's up to 6.6 thousand, 6.5 thousand for Rotten Banana, so not too much of a difference there, as the players just continue to progress in lockstep. Damage and range now on the way. First upgrade for either player now for Blast Shield. May be able to get some good value out of that. No upgrades on the way for Rotten Banana. Doesn't feel he needs them as of the moment. T2 has now finished up as well for Blast Shield. Has managed to get out a few pillars to try and help his war effort, and that is a giant help to anybody's war effort. Pillars, such a good unit, so cheap and so effective for what they are. In the center, we have our first little bit of pillar action as a pillar and a few strikers move forward towards a group of Manti. And these Manti going to suffer a grisly fate indeed. Pillar going to start working towards its first rank of veterancy now. And a lot of units going down there for Rotten Banana, but he does have a lot of reinforcements now starting to come through all portions of his base. That pillar, unfortunately, though, going to be a bit of an issue as two rhinos show up to try and deal with it. The two rhinos going to focus down that pillar quite easily, and that is going to be a very, very dead T2 UEF tank. And these rhinos are going to eat up all those strikers with glee in their hearts. A very, very good showings coming out from Rotten Banana there, and he's going to leave himself a nice little reclaim field to grab up. And these walls over here were reclaimed by an engineer, so Blast Shield, recognizing that that could slow him down a little bit, and gave the order to just go ahead and grab an engineer and reclaim those walls. Fastest way to get rid of them. And in the west, a couple of pillars going to be going down. The T2 phase not going too well for Blast Shield. He does have a lot of T2 now on the field, but he's sending them in one by one, and that's really not helping him out. Does have a parashield, very powerful unit to help keep his other units alive. That extra 3,000 HP on each unit does really add up when you get a bunch of them out onto the field. And over here to the east, a few more units trickling in for Blast Shield, just going to continue to die. The reclaim field here in the center now starting to be grabbed up by Rotten Banana. Let's go ahead and check on reclaim once again. Rotten Banana up to 12,000 versus 9.8 thousand out from Blast Shield. So Blast Shield's aggression not really helping him out right now, but he does have a very, very large force starting to push over here in the west. He may be able to get some damage done. Gonna be looking to try and maybe get into the production of Rotten Banana, so that way he can get some damage down onto something that will be a little bit more lasting than just killing off units. Rotten Banana's comm now showing up, trying to help in thwarting this attack for the moment. The units are going to get in here, and there is a T2 PD, or T2 power generator, not PD, my mistake. Gonna go down very rapidly here, and another one that could be under threat does look like it's going to be focused down momentarily, but maybe not, as more and more units and structures are being produced here by Rotten Banana. He's going to clean this up. Does lose that T2 P-Gen, but it is going to be rebuilt very, very quickly. Does manage to get up a Zapper T2 TMD. Does he see a tactical missile launcher? Yes, there is one here in the middle. Has managed to get 2 kills, which means it's picked up a T2 Mex somewhere or other. Did not quite catch that. Another missile going to be flying out. Is it going to be heading down towards the southern side? Maybe he even killed off that T2P generator with the tactical missile launcher. And a T1 bomber trying to come in to kill off that Zapper, but not going to be too successful here, as the TMD shoots down that missile coming out from Blast Shield. Another missile coming out, this time going to be heading over to the east, maybe going for some of these T2 mexes in the main base of Rotten Banana, although I can't really call this the main base whenever it doesn't even have a factory in it. He's kind of made his main base over here despite spawning right here. And that T2 mech's going to go down very sadly. I guess the factory was probably killed off. and another T2 mech's most likely going to go down very soon, as there's just no T2 engineers in the area to stop the path of those missiles from reaching in towards the economy of Rotten Banana. And Blast Shield looking very strong here in the mid game. He doesn't have more economy, and T3 land is critically finished up now for Rotten Banana. We have some loyalists out on the field, but T3 land about to finish up now for Blast Shield. He's already working on his first Titan, so both players in lockstep technologically, and right now Blast Shield has the map control advantage and just overall has felt like he's had the unit advantage for most of this game, but right now looking a little bit light on units overall. Does still have this strong pillar army in the middle, but it's going to be slowly chewed away by these loyalists, and that could mean disaster, as Blast Shield very light on units as he's making the transition to T3 land, and there's still a decent number of units kicking around for Rotten Banana, but he is going to use the Commander to try and stifle the efforts of Rotten Banana. But the Commander walking into multiple Cerberus, this could be very dangerous, down into the yellow HP, down to 7,000 HP, and oh my word, is he taking quite the hefty sum of damage just for walking forward, down to 5,000 HP. That's going to be very unfortunate. It does have the nano regen upgrade, of course, which is going to help him out quite a little bit. It's going to give him that 56 health a second, which means he'll only have to be out of the combat for a couple of minutes to be fully regenerated, but that is very unfortunate to walk into all those Cerberus. Of course, did force the Cerberus to be built, and that's not a cheap thing to build, as bricks are starting to make themselves known on the map. One sitting here in the middle, another one about to finish up. Hives going up on the eastern side of this western base, and right now Blast Shield is ahead economically for the first time in quite a little while. And overall reclaim, though, going the way of Rotten Banana, sitting at 25,000, 26,000 reclaim versus 13,000 of Blast Shield. All of this fighting on his side of the map really has been a boon to him economically. And as of the moment, we're calming down a little bit. I guess now would be a good time to just go ahead and check on their bases a little bit. We're getting more T3 production, so right now Blast Shield committing to the 4 T3 land factories. Not seeing a T3 mechs, even though I had the slip of a tongue that might be happening. I think these players are going to take a little while to get to T3 mechs. They are, of course, going to focus very heavily on getting all of these mechs in the back of their bases to T2. A lot of mechs is upgrading to T2 right now for Rotten Banana, and he's skyrocketing ahead of Blast Shield in economy right now, as he's at 150 mass a second versus 107 or 8 for Blast Shield. And that is going to be a bit of a problem in the near future for Blast Shield. He needs to make sure he's not falling behind economically, as he's been using sheer quantity to get any tactical advantage so far. A bit of a fight going on here in the middle of the map, as a few T3 units along with a lot of T2 supporting units now out for Rotten Banana, starting to push in towards all of these Titans. There is a pillar now in this forest now, but this one brick not nearly enough to fight this off. So in fact, a good fight now for Blast Shield, and there is going to be a decent little bit of reclaim here, about 1,000 for him to scoop up once he pushes back Rotten Banana. Over to the west, we have a brick drop now inbound. Is John Wick still alive? Oh, it'd be impossible to track him down even if he were. Maybe he's over here, maybe he's one of the engineers helping all this out, or maybe he died much, much earlier. Either way, that brick drop over onto the plateau, not into that expansion. Instead, gonna drop over here, gonna kill off that T1 PD, and now is gonna be in prime position. Oh, that's an interesting choice in target. In prime position right now to just start killing off all of the structures built up here for Blast Shield, and gain himself another 2 mechs expansion if he can take over that plateau. In the middle, Blast Shield showing up with that gun and nanocom. He does have a decent number of Titans with the occasional pillar, and now Spearhead on the field to try and bolster his attacking force and hold this area as long as he can, using the comm for reclaim right now. Very heads up play. One of the best engineers on the map is going to be your commander. Over to the east, there are a few T2 PD thrown up, and they're stopping any kind of assault. And that's going to be 500 reclaim and mostly T1 units. Just sitting on the ground right there as more and more T1 units get rallied into their eventual death. Brick on Percival action over here on the hill. The brick I don't think it can win unless it dodges a Percival shot. Yeah, I think it has to dodge a Percival shot in order to win. Oh, very close, 325 HP, meaning that Blast Shield will be able to maintain control over that plateau. But of course, with a few of these Medusa coming down, if the Percival is not microed properly, the Percival will go down. Even has a T3 engineer out up here on to the plateau. The Percival shoots down the transport, but unfortunately doesn't move in time and only kills off one of the Medusa. We do have Mech Marines starting to be produced. This T3 engineer being left idle is a huge mistake coming out from Rotten Banana. Needs to make sure he's on top of it. Needs to make sure he is continuing to use that T3 engineer to produce structures that will allow him to hold on to that area. A Percival drop over here to the west. Gonna manage, or either that or it just walked all the way around, but I don't believe that idea. Walking in, killing off T2 mechs is gonna be able to get a lot of value out of this one Percival. Already up to 1 rank of veterancy and is going to be able to pick off yet another T2 mechs and maybe even one after that as Corsairs come in as well as brick drops to stop the advancement of this Rambo Percival. Does manage it and does manage to save at least one of the T2 mechs is there. As we meander through the mid-game at the 22-minute mark almost. Sorry, had to take a drink there for that silence. As over here to the east, some Medusa going to be able to kill off a SAM site. Having a lot of trouble with it. The change in elevation really not helping out the Medusa's cause here. And we have a relatively quiet map at the moment, not very much going on. Lots of hives built up over here, but they're not really doing anything. This is a heavy investment for a lot of build power that he's really just not using at the moment. You can tell they're not doing anything because you can't see the little nubbin that flips down. Kind of like the, you know, flip up headlights? They're like flip down builders. Hives, the flip down builders of FAF. As in the middle, there are, relatively speaking, decent-sized armies for both sides, but unfortunately for Blast Shield, Rotten Banana just showing up with a lot of bricks. And guess what? He's going to be throwing a brick through the window as a bunch of reinforcing Percivals show up. These 2 bricks on this transport probably slated to die, but unfortunately for Blast Shield, going to be able to just drop these right here into the back line. Going to be able to focus down some T2 PD, or T2 mexes. Why do I keep saying PD? As the T1 PD here is going to be going down. Unfortunately, though, for Blast Shield, he doesn't have a great solution to this. Is going to send the commander over. Maybe an overcharge or 2 can deal with this. But the bricks are going to run away from the commander as fast as they can, getting stuck on some mass storage. In the middle, we have a bit of a brick on Percival fight, but the Percivals have so much support and a whole bunch of Lobos, even some Strikers showing up, and those are eating damage that would have gone into the bricks instead. And now the Percivals under heavy threat, and more than enough bricks survive to make Rotten Banana feel strong and like he's in a good position there. Over to the east, a Titan drop up onto this cliff, managing to kill off the expansion of Rotten Banana. Corsair coming in, trying to clean up the Titan. Unfortunately, not going to find any success there. These 2 Medusas still trying desperately to kill off this SAM site. Have you finally found out the targeting procedure, or are you still just going to miss? Does seem like the Medusas figured it out, but decides to stop firing for some reason. Interesting. As in the middle, a lot of engineers being dropped by Rotten Banana. He really wants this reclaim. He doesn't want to continue to let Blast Shield get all of the reclaim from these middle fights. He's focusing on it quite heavily. Got to remember, both these players above 2,000 rating. Both of these players in the top 1% of FAF players. And really trying their damnedest to take the other one down a peg. As over here to the east, this Corsair still managing to fight and maybe even kill off a Titan. But the Titan's going to use the terrain to his advantage. Yeah, I'd like to see a Corsair hit that. Yeah, good luck. This is the kind of things you see out of pro level players. They just do things that are simply for the annoyance factor. He queued up a whole bunch of move orders and even a patrol at the end just to try and stop that Corsair from being effective. These SAM sites about to kill off a whole ton of interceptors, as well as the interceptors out from Blast Shield helping with that. T3 air now finished up for Rotten Banana, has managed to get out a couple of whalers. And in the middle was unable to get his hands on that reclaim, so Blast Shield going to be able to scoop that up into his coffers momentarily. And over to the east, Blast Shield starting to push with a couple of Percivals. Will be able to kill off the Cerberus, but with there being bricks here, might be a little bit of a harder ask. Rotten Banana walking forward, going to try and get some overcharges in. And those Percivals going to go down. That's going to be a little bit of a reclaim going into the coffers of Rotten Banana. I'm sure he'll be happy to scoop that up. And the economies have just gone wild. Currently, there is a over 100 mass a second advantage for Rotten Banana. It's like 150 mass a second at the moment is the mass generation advantage for Rotten Banana. He really has done a stellar job at ecoing in towards the late game. He has all of these T3 mechs just scattered about, whereas Blast Shield, I don't even see one T3 mechs, much less multiple. And that's really going to set him behind here in the mid game. As Rotten Banana has just put so much more emphasis on making sure his economy is strong, instead of focusing on these little fights with units. And Blast Shield now going for shield on the comm. He's going to try and make a big push here in the middle. He still has a strong army. He's not behind in the units. He's just behind in the unit production and in the mass generation departments. So Shield now on the way for that commander. Wants to make sure he keeps alive as many Percivals as possible, so that way when he does push with the commander, it has a little bit more weight behind it, but he's going to push forward a little bit here. Parashields eating up a lot of damage out from these bricks. And the Percivals are going to fall back a little bit, just going in for a bit of a prodding attack. Testing the waters a little bit, maybe. As there are a ton of T3 Pigeons now going up, and maybe an air grid forming soon. We have multiple Strat Bombers now on the field for Rotten Banana. As well as some trebuchets over on the western side to stop any kind of shenanigans from this plateau from getting out of hand. And Rotten Banana has now cloaked 2 Strat Bombers. What is he going to do with them? Only time will tell. We'll track them for a little bit while Shield finishes up on to that commander. About 80 to 90% done right now. And the Strat Bombers going to be coming in for a pass over here on this cliff. Going to be able to drop bombs on top of Percivals. Kills off one of them. Going to fly into a SAM site. Unfortunately, is one of the Strat Bombers going down. Oh, nope. Doesn't manage to go down because of the stealth. He's going to drop and be able to kill off that second Percival. And this campaign of bombing continues as 2 more Strat Bombers join the fray. Those 2 at the northern side going to continue their campaign of carnage as the Strat Bombers come in and drop bombs onto the SAM sites themselves. any strat bombers gone down yet? No, it doesn't seem so, but unfortunately I'm pretty sure one goes down very soon to the SAM site there. That bomber hits the cliff, and now going over to the west, but unfortunately I think this was a Percival drop, as a bunch of Percivals just managed to get past the entire army of Rotten Banana are coming in, and they're going to kill off all of the T3 power generators that Rotten Banana has spent the past few minutes building. And oh word, I guess oh my word, that is going to be a devastating blow. Rotten Banana probably thrown into a power stall. Yes, he's not quite there yet, but here in a second, in 3, 2, 1, he's in a power stall. And that is going to be devastating to the economy of the Red Cybran, who just suffered a colossal blow onto his economic efforts. Gonna need to rebuild those power generators as fast as possible, maybe even build up some T2 ones to cover the gap. As more Percivals on transports gonna go down, unfortunately. That's gonna be more of a mass dump than anything. Gotta use Continentals if you want to do hot drops like that. They can let you through a little bit of AA or even a couple of ASF. But those normal T2 transports are not gonna cut it. As over here to the west, more attacking going on for Blast Chilled. But there's a Monkey Lord on the way, and another T3 power has been thrown up, at least recently. He's paused enough to make stuff happen, and that Spider gonna finish up momentarily, and Blast Shield's comm is very close to this. This could be a very dangerous situation for both sides. That Spider could just go down to a couple of overcharges if Blast Shield plays his cards right. And he's walking forward. No fear. As forward comes the Monkey Lord, and the bricks supporting it is gonna start falling. Back is Blast Shield, and he's gonna walk forward now. I think he fancies his chances of killing it off with the Percival Barrage and a couple of overcharges, and it does look like he may just be able to do it as the Monkey Lord goes down. And the commander gets to walk away scot-free, not even really taking any damage there. But unfortunately, he lost enough Percivals that the bricks over on the right-hand side are sweeping in. Probably not enough to kill off that commander, but is going to leave a nasty, nasty reclaim field over here on this southern side of the map. And Blast Shield going to be very upset that he's left so much there for his opponent to scoop into his coffers. He's now going to have to commit to fighting. He's Ravager creeping to try and gain control of that reclaim field. He may be able to do it if he can keep using this commander as a pseudo-experimental, keep on pushing back the bricks, and just keep on with this aggression. It may work out for him, but it's going to be a hard ask. Killing off that power grid was crucial, but now the power grid is already back online, and Rotten Banana is back into full swing of things with nearly a 200 mass a second, if not already a 200 mass a second advantage over Blast Chilled. Blast Chilled continuing to push forward. The Trebuchets brought dangerously forward and killed off for their efforts by that Broadsword. Broadsword does eventually go down though. The Strat Bombers over on the eastern side were seemingly cleaned up, or maybe they came back and shot down some of this and got cleaned up here. Either way, there is a Continental online, which means we could have another Percival drop. As Blast Shield still trying to keep the aggression up. He knows he's behind economically. And he needs to make sure he doesn't just give over this reclaim field. He's fighting really hard for it. This reclaim field of 47,000 could very well decide the game, and Blast Shield knows it. And he's just standing his ground and saying, "This is where I shall live or die." He does have a bunch of engineers on a Continental. He's going to try and get in here and start the reclaim himself. Has engineers just walking up from the front lines. Just many, many engineers, all following in their Lord and Savior, John Wick, the Engineer Lord. As down here to the south, a megalith now on the way, and it's going up quick. Rotten Banana cresting 500 mass a second. Overall reclaim numbers, 68,000 for Rotten Banana. Blast Shield has caught up since the last time we checked at 66,000. As long as he can maintain control of this reclaim field, he could skyrocket forward and maybe even get a strong economy behind him. More engineers going to be dropped over here. The Monkey Lord being prioritized now by Rotten Banana, deciding that 13,000 is worth much more than trying to get off some of the reclaim from the T3 bots. 27,000 mass remaining, and a lot of that's going to be tied up right here in the Monkey Lord, which is being quickly reclaimed by Rotten Banana. Blast Shield now pushing over here towards the east, towards this fire base. Still using that commander, 7.6 thousand mass killed. He's killed off 45 units, about to kill off yet another brick. He's going to be forced to fall back a little bit as the bricks continue to fire into that commander. T2 static artillery clink hammer is going to be going down to some Gunthers out from Rotten Banana. And while both sides got a lot of reclaim there, it does seem that Rotten Banana came out a little bit better, over 10,000 reclaim up over his opponent. Before that fight, they were around 3,000 reclaim different from each other. A Percival drop onto the comm of Rotten Banana does not succeed, but does bring the comm down to yellow HP. He's going to go ahead and walk it over towards his other base. There is a Megalith now online, could possibly hunt down the commander of Blast Shield, as there's just constant fights going on here in the middle, and now it seems that Rotten Banana wants to push over on the eastern side. And Blast Shield gonna have to run away and lick his wounds. His force was very well and good cut down there, and now he's behind on units and economy. Working on a Fat Boy though. It could be the ticket to save this game for him. A Fat Boy can be very, very powerful and very cost effective. Let's go ahead and speed up a little bit as we reach into this mid game. Not too terribly much happening, as in the middle, Rotten Banana starting to push forward. He's waffling about, not sure whether he wants to push straight down the middle or push up this eastern flank. I would think that the middle would be maybe the better option here. Has a tad bit more maneuverability and less enemy occupation, as these Ravagers continue to open up. One at 1 veterancy, the other one at 1 veterancy, getting a lot of value. Unfortunately, they're going to go down to the Megalith. Not going to be able to get too much done here. Are going to chunk the Megalith down about 10,000 HP. But that is a drop in the bucket compared to the overall HP of a Megalith. And right now, the units out from Rotten Banana pressuring down onto the base of Blast Shield. Will they be able to get the success they need? And Omni now on the way for Blast Shield. He's having troubles even seeing the force that is attacking him. With all of these deceivers mixed in, very annoying to fight up against, and very fun to use yourself, as the Fat Boy comes online, just going to start pelting the bricks from long range. That's a lot of Percivals coming in. The Megalith does have a lot of HP, but it needs these bricks to stay alive around it. The bricks are going to be a lot of the DPS here. Megalith needs to make sure it's not getting stuck in a situation where it has nothing to target. Is going to start focusing down some T3 mass extractors as the fighting ensues. Just constant battles coming out from both sides. And right now it seems as though Blast Shield is getting the better of this engagement. All of these red units supporting that Megalith have slowly dissipated, and the Megalith will be able to help get some economic damage down onto Blast Shield. But unfortunately, I don't see it walking away from here, especially with that large wave of Percivals now walking in towards its position. It can try and take as many as possible down with it, but this is going to be a huge, Huge mass dump in the middle of the base of Blast Shield. Sure, he lost some economy, but he's going to get that and more back when this megalith goes down. The bricks in the background, though, still continuing to get some damage done. A commander showing up to fire some overcharges in and clean that up, as well as some long-range fire from the Fat Boy helping out. And that's going to leave 65,000 reclaim on the field for Blast Shield. But unfortunately, Blast Shield is massively behind in reclaim from Rotten Banana, who's just played a stellar economic game from both reclaim to mass generation to power generation. He's ahead in almost every metric you can measure economically. But he's just not able to build up that critical mass to deal a death blow on towards the blue UEF. The Master of Bees continues to reign supreme, at least for now, as we meander past the 40-minute mark and zoom towards that elusive hour mark, as so many great games have gone to. Let's go ahead and speed up again as both sides seemingly coming back, licking their wounds. Blast Shield trying to get a handle on all of this reclaim and maybe shovel that into a bunch of mechs upgrades over here on the western side. See a lot of assistance going down onto those T3 mechs upgrades. Unfortunately for Blast Shield, there's just too many Gunthers on this western side to push with the Fat Boy at the moment. Does have another Fat Boy on the way. You can get into that territory where you have 3, maybe 4 Fat Boys, and it just becomes impossible to push you. And your pushes become very strong, especially with attack move. And Blast Shield is chilling right now, and we can watch his reclaim go up. He was below 100,000 when we checked last, and now he's almost up to the same reclaim that Rotten Banana had. Only 5,000 left. That 60,000 reclaim thrown into his coffers in a matter of a couple of minutes. And he spent it all. And he spent it happily. Over here to the west, the Fat Boy about to finish up. The economy is drawing a little bit closer with that, but still Rotten Banana doubling the economy of Blast Shield. Nearly 400 mass a second ahead. Second Fat Boy finishes up, but you would have to imagine some kind of game ender is on the way, and it's on the way soon. As Ras Boys are being produced by Rotten Banana, getting up near 1,000 mass a second. Has a ton of Corsairs in this southern side of the map. Blast Shield looking just a little bit out of his depth here, not quite able to keep up with the economic advantage that Rotten Banana has built for himself. And it's looking a bit dire for the blue UEF on the northern side. It's by no means over, but he needs to start getting some meaningful damage done. He needs to get a win somewhere. Because despite keeping up on units, despite having a decent ground force, he just will not be able to keep this up as long as Rotten Banana continues to build production. At some point, the man can stop ecoing and start building units. And that's going to be very scary. So, Mr. Blast, what do we do now? I'm making boys now. Same. Is he making boys? He is making boys. The boys. They're so wholesome. All of these Corsairs sitting down here on the southern side of the map, doing their mating dance, trying to draw in unsuspecting land units for them to feast upon and then mate. And those Corsairs giving me just a bunch of anxiety. A couple of Corsairs going to come over here, try and shut down this expansion up to the plateau. The plateau has been very contested this entire game. A nuke finished up and on the way for Rotten Banana. Make SMD on right side, E2. Did he just tell Blast Shield to make SMD and Blast Shield is doing it? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. That's so wholesome. Also, it's kind of BM, but also wholesome. Oh, I love it. It's like, hey, I want this game to keep going. I don't want to win with just a nuke. That's boring. Build an SMD, dude. Rotten Banana, I like that. I don't know if that was BM or if that was just like, haha, alpha move. I'm gonna assert dominance. But I like to see it as a wholesome move of, this game's been fun and I want it to keep going. Okay? I substitute whatever reality may be and replace it with my own. I reject the reality where people are assholes, because we are all beautiful people and we should be kind to each other. And I know I say some shit like I make fun of like thirdness and such, but seriously, be nice to each other. We're all just bags of meat trying to get along in this life. As both sides have decided that attacking is no longer worth it. Who won the reclaim war? Well, it's pretty even, both sides getting about the same. But we can very easily argue that Rotten Banana's done quite a little bit better with it, getting that economic advantage, as now he's about to finish up a disruptor. What a disrupting scene now for Blast Chilled. Blast Chilled, to his credit, has caught up economically incredibly quickly. He's gone from 400 mass a second down to 100 in just a few minutes. As this disruptor comes online, it's about to start disrupting the tranquility of this game. As its first shell flies in 3, 2, 1. Man, my timing was on point for that. And it's going to be firing very close. In fact, going for some Percivals, I believe. Oh no, it's going for a Fat Boy. Huh. Interesting. Interesting call coming out from a Rotten Banana. Let's go ahead and speed this up a little bit more again. Yet again, we don't want to sit here and wait for these players to punch each other in the face. Just do it already. I've run out of things to stall and talk about. How's the weather wherever you are? Go into the comments. Tell me how the weather is, as this disruptor is going to kill off a Fat Boy. Oh, the poor Fat Boy. Oh, that's an SMD. Oh no. He trolled him. He was like, build an SMD, and then he's just gonna kill it with an artillery and be like, didn't matter, scrub. No, he wants this game to go longer. He's focusing down a Fat Boy with a disruptor. You don't do that if you want the game to end. Strategic launch detected. It's going to the middle. This poor spearhead force out from Blast Chilled is gonna meet its demise. Fat Boy goes down to the disruptor. Not a sentence I thought I would be saying when I got out of bed today. And he's probably just going to use it to focus down the other Fat Boy too. He has a Soothsayer. Man, he just built all of the spicy things. I really like Rotten Banana. He's played a interesting game so far. He's kind of just done that thing that people do to new players, which is really annoying, where you just eco up and you build all the cool things, and you don't just end the game when you very well could. He just builds up all the cool things. It's kind of bullying, but not quite. When you're at this level, I don't think bullying can happen, okay? As Blast Chilled continues to fight over on the western side. And he's gonna try and make something happen. Is the disruptor gonna be retargeted onto the other Fat Boy? Only time will tell. Although this Fat Boy is right next to a bunch of Gunthers, and oh no, the Gunthers and the Corsairs take down the Fat Boy. And with that, I can't imagine Blast Chilled gonna be able to push through this with Megaliths and Monkey Lords across the map. Blast Chilled now staring down the barrel of Disruptor and a Scathis. It is all over but the singing. And Blast Chilled has fought a valiant game, but the Cybran are strong, and they will continue to show up in force. As it seems that Rotten Banana can do no harm Maybe a snipe onto his commander is the last-ditch effort that Blast Chilled can put forth. But even that's looking relatively unlikely with all of the PD shielding, the ASF, not to mention the hives, which can very much so increase all of those things by a large magnitude. A lot of parashields managing to make it to the Scathis. Oh, that's unfortunate. Of all the things that could have made it here, the parashields were not the best. Over to the west, a large Cybern push now on towards the base of Blast Shield. Might be the final nail in the coffin. If it's not this, it's surely the Scathis. And the Monkey Lord goes down, but the Megalith's still healthy as it walks in. Lots of Scorchers out onto the field to try and help. A Duke has been finished up, but the Duke gonna be shot at by a bunch of bricks, not to mention the Disruptor and a Scathis, and the Duke gonna go down. That's a lot of fire. That is a lot of fire. Everything is fine meme, the FAF version. Megalith kind of looks like a dog. And Blast Chilled has a Megalith just sitting in his other base. As more and more Scorchers gonna come in, and that's a nuke. So much fire, so little time. And that's another dead Megalith, and that's a nuke killing off a bunch of boys. Monster! And Blast Chilled sitting in the back of his base. XDDD, well, GG. With that, all I have to say is thank you all for watching. You've been beautiful. My name is Willow. Thank you to the patrons. For anybody who's curious, I did mention Duelist Week. Duelist Week is still happening. And the reason we haven't already had it, and the reason we have had so little content, I lost 10 hours of cast footage. Audio issues that I couldn't fix. So this week I'm going to be doing an absolute insane amount of cast recording. So hopefully this coming week we have a lot of games up onto the channel. And then the week after we're going to have at least 4, maybe 5 Duelist games, maybe with him co-casting 1 or 2. So with that out of the way, you all are beautiful. I'll see you in the next one. This is Willow, signing off. Oh, thank you to the patrons and channel members as well. Bye-bye!
But if I lay down and I play dead and